You're fully booked, but the rest of your life feels like it's standing still. Your spiritual business looks super successful to the outside world. Like you've got clients, you're busy doing all the other business stuff. But to you, the life you actually will want feels further away than ever. You want to grow your family, buy a new home, and have actual time freedom. I know this so well because I went from £12,000 to £103,000 in 1 year, but my life didn't actually really change because I was working so much. So I thought the answer was to scale my group program, and I followed all of the business advice, and I actually saw my sales decline. There's a reason that spiritual entrepreneurs reach this point on their journey. It's not because you need a better strategy. By the end of this video, you will understand why everything like marketing stops working and why more clients are not going to get you to where your soul is trying to take you, which is expansion in life and business. For years, I thought business growth was about doing more launches, more marketing, more clients, more offers, more visibility. And that approach did work. It took me from £12,000 to £103,000 in 1 year. I looked super successful to the outside world, but behind the scenes, I was absolutely exhausted. I had 10 one-to-one clients, a mastermind, a group program, a membership, in-person VIP days, in-person events, monthly workshop, and Voxer for my one-to-one and my mastermind clients. It was so busy. And I was also exhausted because I had a miscarriage and I was grieving and I was struggling with my fertility and getting pregnant again. But I told myself that it just wasn't the right time for those things, that I had to focus on scaling the business. That was my answer. And then I'd feel safe enough to, actually have a life. So I decided it was time to scale. And I had a group program that had been successful for years. So I invested a load of money to get the best marketing advice and strategies that I possibly could get. I invested £12,500 in a marketing agency, in ads, in a copywriter to support me with the launch of this program. And I thought it was going really well. I signed 1,000 people to this masterclass. The previous one had done so well. The conversion was so good. And now I had like 1,000 signups. But then I was covered in a full body rash. I couldn't sleep at night. And then on the day of the event, out of those 1,000 people, only 125 people turned up. And then the way I used to convert wasn't happening anymore. I converted 5 of those people, 2 of which stopped paying me. They ghosted me and I didn't receive the full payment. So that launch gave me £4,000. Well, you can do the math. That was clearly a massive loss, which was really hard to recover from. And then for the next 6 months, I launched other offers, things that had worked previously, and everything just stopped working. The things I was able to sell the year before just were not happening anymore. And I just carried on for 6 months. Looking back now, I realized I was trying to solve a spiritual problem with business tactics, which is, of course, why it was not working. It's like I was spending 6 months trying to get this old version of me to create my new reality. Finally, I surrendered, and that's when things began to change. So, why would strategies that had built a six-figure business just stop working? The answer is nothing to do with marketing. It was the unconscious mind, not the subconscious mind, where you're kind of aware of your like limiting beliefs. The unconscious mind is so pre-verbal. It's things that you're doing that you've always kind of done that you think is your personality, but actually it's a survival response. And I've seen these things before in my first spiritual awakening, the part of my journey that actually brought me into being a spiritual entrepreneur. So I was going through a challenging time in relationships, and I had this desire to be married and in love. And I realized I was doing a lot of the weird things like chasing after unavailable men that was stopping me from having the life that I wanted. And that's when I came across the unconscious layer, these things that happened in really early childhood that were actually blocking me from having this desire. So when I'd overcome that and found the unconscious pieces, stopped doing them, broke the patterns, changed my energy, then I attracted a completely different type of relationship with a man who is now my husband. I completely broke a pattern that was all based on a relational blueprint. So for you, you would have had a spiritual awakening that kicked off your business, and some of those themes are coming up again, but now you're being asked to go much deeper to look at that unconscious layer, because you didn't get into business just for a load of cash. I know I didn't. You were called to entrepreneurship because of your own journey and your desire to serve others to make the changes that you did. It's a very deep calling, which is why you can't let it go, because it's from your soul, right? And now you're being asked to go even deeper on that journey. When I followed the soul nudge to start my business, I had insane results, like jumping from £12,000 to 103 in a year. But I was following my own intuition at that point, the strategies, etc. And it worked to get it to that level. And then when it stopped, it was my soul kind of going, you need to go look at this unconscious stuff. And then you'll be able to get to your next part of your journey, because the level in which I was working was just not sustainable because of sacrifice. So of course the soul's going to redirect you, because your soul knows that it's not just the business, it's the life that you're here to create. So if you're off track to build the rest of your life, it's going to stop you. For me, the way that I was running my business was affecting my health and my ability to become a mother. So that's why the soul kind of moves you away. You're not meant to sacrifice things in your life, like the home that you want, the way that you're taking care of yourself, the family that you're growing. These dreams are not meant to fight together. They're meant to be aligned and growing together. And that's why you need to look at the unconscious layer and see what's beneath the surface. What you'll find is it's early things from your childhood development that is so deep under the surface, and it's what's holding you back now. And when you clear that away, things really start to shift. The unconscious will continue to create what's familiar because it sees it as safe, even though it's not actually what you want. So for me, funnels weren't working. The content I was creating wasn't working because the energy behind them was of somebody that was actually afraid to be seen and to have a big impact. It was the human behind the doing. I always show this diagram to clients: be, do, have, rather than do, have, be, which is kind of how strategies work. This is why I created the free resource called the Queen Self-Leadership Guide to stop your younger parts running your business. If you comment Queen, I will send you the link. Use this guide so the being behind the doing is aligned with your soul and expansion and not survival. So many of the patterns that people think are their personality, like people pleasing, being shy, overworking, are actually trauma responses because of things that have happened earlier on in your journey. More clients, more responsibility, more emotional effort, more visibility, more pressure can feel incredibly unsafe to an identity that's organized around sacrifice. That's why your calendar fills, but the bank account doesn't really match it, because you've built your business around your current operating system, which is survival, not expansion. And when what you're doing is out of alignment with your soul path, it will force you to stop, like it did to me. And this is to force you to look at that deeper level. Your business isn't broken. Your soul in the universe is not abandoning you. You're just in another awakening. Your business and your leadership are in a death and rebirth. This is really happening for you, even though it doesn't feel like that. You have done this before, and now you're going to go even deeper. In the next video, I'm going to show you something that completely changed how I ran my business, a 15-minute calendar audit. It will reveal to you whether your business is organized around survival or expansion. Once you see it, you'll never look at your schedule in the same way again. And this will actually free up your time. So make sure you watch that next video.